What is up, everybody? It is Alex from Heavy New York calling from Zoom again, and this time we are here with the one and only LJ of Sevendust. Thank you for being here today, man. It's great to have you here.
It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you very much. Kevin was just texting me. I'm like,
No, you're good.
he's like, "Oh, you're on." He's like, "You're on." I'm like, "Yeah, I didn't say anything. We're on." He knows that we're talking now.
Hell yeah.
What's up? It's a pleasure to be here, brother.
It's a pleasure to have you here, man. Thank you so much. And most of all, thank you for another fantastic Sevendust album. Truth Killer is out now. This album is extraordinary from start to finish. Was there, and this could go for not just this album, but any album, do you ever go into it with a vision in mind, a preconceived idea, or do you, Morgan and Clinton, everybody kind of just like improvise and experiment?
They kind of improvise and experiment, but I feel like this album honestly had a angst and tension from the pandemic and from us being away from the world and being in our normal setting of touring and not being able to do that. And I think we went into it with the anticipation of what are we going to move? What's the crowd going to move like with these songs? And I think that was a conscious decision when we were writing things, like the vision that we would see the people receiving the music. So it was exciting to do that. You know, it was a very exciting album, exciting to write and to go back and listen to the grooves and look at each other and say, yeah, I could see this happening and I can't wait. So yeah, it was very cool.
Yeah. You know, as a fan of Sevendust, if you play me 30 seconds of a song, I could tell that that would be off of Home or Animosity or Alpha or Cold Day Memory. So it's fair to say that you guys like to experiment with your style, right? It's not like you try to stick with a specific formula.
Oh, not at all. No, we definitely experiment, especially on this album. You definitely can see different programming, and we kind of went really outside the box, which is fun. And I feel like at the point of our career right now, we're old enough, we've been around long enough that everything doesn't have to always be like, oh, you know, because you always have those guys like, oh man, they're not heavy anymore. No, we're 7,000 years old. We have to be the heaviest band in the world. We've grown. We have kids. You know, life changes. We grow up, and I'm so. That's not good.
No, you cut out.
I'm sorry. Hold on.
No, you're good.
Someone's trying to. Are you there? All right.
Yep.
We've grown up as artists, you know, and I feel like the Sevendust family has grown with us, and they've allowed us to change. I feel like it would be silly to have everything sound the same because you would just get tired of it. You have to experiment. You have to grow with anything that you do. I don't care if you worked at McDonald's, where I used to work at when I was a kid. You still had to grow. You know, you had to do something different in the spot that you were in. You still have to evolve. And I feel like the same way with the music, and I feel like we've been able to do that, especially with this album too.
Yeah. You know, A Cold Day Memory was my first Sevendust album. I was kind of a late bloomer with that one. And, you know, with Unraveling and Here and Now and Nowhere, Last Breath, that one resonated with me the most. But I was always astonished by how different types of vibes that you have. Like, every song has its own distinct emotion behind it. Like, I remember having a track like Nowhere, which is very catchy and almost kind of like fun, but then Here and Now, that gave me goosebumps with the sort of melancholia that was present. Is every song a reflection of a particular emotion that you were feeling at that particular time?
It's an emotion that all of us feel. All right, so let me tell you something about Sevendust. From day one, I've always said it would be very foolish. Very cool the way you presented that, because it makes sense in the big scheme of things. The reason why we write the way we write. It would be foolish from everything to come from one person's point of view. Say it be me. That would be silly for Sevendust to always be about my experiences. We're all grown men that write music, and we all know each other. And if anyone can write together, it's us. So we all write, and that's what's fun about it is if John comes to me with a song or comes to the table with a song about his father passing away, guess who was there when his father passed away? Us. Guess who was right beside him on the bus? Guess whose life's been spent together in this fuselage, you know, touring the world, you know, going through things together, going through divorces, having kids, not being at the delivery, you know, just, and so that's what's good about Sevendust is that we're all able to write together and understand our stories and our passions and not just some phony thing, some phony story. You know what I mean? It's like, it's real. It's the real deal. You know?
And here, because, you know, when people tell me all the time, oh, we all mutually came together and it was all a collective thing, that's all well and good, but I don't believe that that's 100% because you are all, so 5 very talented guys with your own unique experiences and your
Yeah.
own different paths. So when it comes to writing together, do all of you need to be in the same headspace? Like for instance, and sorry if this is a little too heavy of an analogy, but I know that Seasons, which is 20 years old this year, that
Yeah.
was written in a very, very dark place for you on a personal level. And, nobody could fathom that type of loss that's channeled into it. So does everybody really need to feel the same way when writing together, or could maybe different emotions actually help add contrast to the sound?
Yeah, different emotions definitely add contrast to it, man. That's so crazy you say that. We play that song "Shine" off that album I wrote about my brother that was killed tragically. Uh, it's so fun. I didn't even never talked about this, but when we did that, when he was killed, I left the tour for a few days to bury him. And the strangest thing, I just thought about it when you said that. This interview is really crazy. It's great. I remember my tour bus, the band, picking me up at my brother's freaking funeral to go back out on the road. So, those times, it was really hard. And even, it's something I think about every day of my life. But yeah, those emotions are definitely in there. And if anybody can understand it, the guys in the band too, think about them having to be there, a tour bus outside the big funeral home to pick me up to go back out on the road after I just buried my brother that was murdered. Man, there was definitely a lot of emotions in that. There's still a lot of emotions in everything that we do. I think until that time happened to me in my life, I was like, that don't happen to people. That don't happen. That never happens. And until it happened to me, then I was like, wow, it really changed my life. And it put a lot of things in perspective. And even still to this day.
And I've always found all of you guys so admirable on how you're able, because to this day, one of the most goosebump inducing tracks for me was Honesty. When you open up with "It's not supposed to hurt this much," but it can never feel the same again. That for some reason has echoed in my mind for so long.
Oh wow.
And when pain is the fuel behind the fire, behind lyricism or music, though, does that maybe make the songwriting process just as deteriorating in a way, or even traumatic as it can be cathartic?
Maybe not traumatic, but definitely emotional. It definitely tears at you. And even when you go back, I mean, it's like, I feel like every night is an emotional roller coaster. There's never like a point where I'm just like, oh, we're just going through the motions. Still to this day, I wish it's never been like that. To me, music is those times, and it takes you back. It might not take you all the way back, but you're definitely going to spiral into that moment. That's whatever the reason that song was written about, and the time, the focus, And a lot of times I like for people to take the song and interpret it in their life in the way that it fits too, because a song can mean something completely different to someone else. You know what I mean? And if it's helping them in that way, and that's the way they're understanding, that's fine. I think that's a beautiful thing, because I think still to this day, my daughter could bring a song home from some new pop artist, and I'm like, yeah, what's that mean? And she'll tell me, like, oh, shoot, I didn't know she was getting knocked loose. Wait a minute, you can't listen to that. So wait a second, that's what that means? Wait
Has there ever been a time where like a lyrical idea could help dictate the direction of the music, or have you always preferred to have music before either you or Morgan or somebody come up with the lyrics?
Oh no, we always like, I don't like. I like for the music to come first. I don't like to just. I used to sit down and just write, but I don't do that a lot now, because I feel like the music for me is what is that's what moves the ship for me. That's the start. That's the seed. You don't have to have the whole song, but if you give me a riff or just something, a melody, or just a hum or something, then I can go with that. But yeah, I like to start it with the seed from there. Now, occasionally I can sit down and write about something that I feel is really deep in my heart, but for me, it's the pull of the music. That's what I feel the strongest at, in the heat of the moment almost.
You led me perfectly into the next question, because sometimes you are working on a song for days or weeks or months, if you're Tool, 13 years. Yeah. So like, do you find...
Which I don't like to do.
But if you do have to work on a song for a long period of time, does that make it harder to sort of maintain that initial spark of the idea?
Yes, absolutely. Good question again. So listen to this. After we do the Sevendust album, I don't listen to it again until it comes out. So I'm still learning the Sevendust album, the new Truth Killer, right now, because I don't like to sit there and listen to it and bang it And then by the time it comes out, it's like, yeah, I love the album, but I've listened to it so much that it's not exciting. I like for it to be exciting, like for the listener, the same way that they hear it that first day, then I'm listening to it that day too. And I'm like, I forgot about that. Oh, I forgot that we put that in that song. Oh my God, we did do that 3 months ago. I forgot I did that melody. You know what I mean? I'm relearning the song and I'm falling in love with it again, just like I'm doing with this album right now. It's so fun. The only 2 songs that are in the set right now are Fence and Everything, which is incredible. It's going over great. So the next couple of songs like Truth Killer, and I won't say, but we're going to put some other songs in. And so we're starting to kind of rehearse those and put them in a set. So it's fun for us all because we all do the same thing.
If you put Messenger and Sick Mouth and Holy Water, please put those 3 in there.
Okay, all right. I think Holy Water is definitely going to go in there on the next run.
Okay, please, because that is a fantastic track.
Thank you. Oh, you say they were some of my favorite ones too.
Oh, I'm honored.
Right.
But depending on what the material can be about, whether it is something more personal or more internal versus something more external, does it resonate with you differently when you look back at it? Do you maybe channel a different energy in singing that song depending on the lyrical meaning?
Oh yeah, definitely. It depends on the lyrical meaning and what's behind it. Like a song like Fence is just fun, you know. It's just that's that original Sevendust banger, you know. It's exciting. And if you think about the video when I'm up there performing, I'm thinking about the damn video, so that's funny too. And then you go into like deeper songs like Everything, you know, and you think about the meaning behind the songs. So yeah, there's different emotions up there on the stage along with the songs for sure.
Yeah. And also because I've always said that art is life and it can grow and it can develop, with the artist. But when you perform like older material live, like for instance, if you play a song off of Next, does that put you into the mindset of who LJ was in 2005? You've just played Animosity in its entirety. So did that make you feel like you were in 2001?
No, it didn't make me feel like that young kid, but it definitely makes it. That's a good question. But it brings back that nostalgia of just like, oh, this was a great time. And I remember this and I remember that. I don't necessarily, but I've never been a knucklehead. So I'm not like, oh, I was a knucklehead at that point in time in my life. But it definitely, like Animosity, for whatever reason, that album really resonated with a lot of people. I feel like it was a movement. May it had been if we were in high school at the same time in college. I feel like Sevendust was a fraternity and a sorority for a lot of people at a certain point in time that didn't go to school. So it's crazy. I kind of went away from the question. I hope I answered it.
No, you answered it fine. But when you play like a song as very mellow as something like Christmas Day, for example, which is sort of like a laid back ballad. I listen to that every Christmas, I might add. But versus like one of your more aggressive songs like Last Breath or Karma, for example, does that also maybe hit you differently?
Oh, so weird you ask, because Karma is in the set now and Disgrace and Angel Son. So this is a very emotional set, man, that we're going through right now. So it brings me back to all those times in my life. And it's crazy. And Shine is in the set too. Oh my God. I'm a wreck. I can't wait for this tour to be over.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a cool time, man. And what a great catalog to be able to have. And of course, when we go back out with Dope and Static X, the set will be a lot heavier. It'll be a lot banger. But this set, to me, my wife came out. The kids flew out to Connecticut. She said, this is one of the best sets you guys have put together.
Yeah. I mean, I'd imagine it gets harder to put a set list together with every album that you do put out, right?
It's funny because we'll look at each other and somebody will say, oh, I'm not ever playing that song again. We're like, no, I'm not either. So
you never say never, right?
Yeah, never say never. Right on.
Yeah. But in order to get the inspiration to write, in order to get that sort of mindset, do you need to kind of put yourself in a specific place in order to cultivate ideas, or does inspiration just strike out of the blue for you?
Out of the blue, depends. Now, like if I go to the farmhouse, of course it strikes there. You know what, man? Inspiration goes everywhere. After this tour, I'll be inspired because I'm going to my lake house and taking the Sea-Doos and the boats out and going fishing, and I'll have a day there before the kids and the wife get there, and I'll be inspired then. You know, I'll kind of decompress and I'll settle away from this tour, but inspiration is there, you know, it's everywhere. So when I take a walk around every town that I'm in, you know, I'm inspired.
But I'd imagine too, inspiration does tend to strike at the most inconvenient times, right?
Yes, absolutely, man. Everywhere in the world, man. I could be walking like today, walking here in Minneapolis, just walking and knowing that I'm in the town that Prince, is from. It's inspiring, knowing that the Purple Mansion is right around the corner from here on the hill.
Yeah, of course. And how do you know when you are finished with the song though? And I asked both Clint and John this. So how do you know when you're finished with a song?
Oh wow, I don't know how you answer that. When I just go to the end, when I have two verses and I have a chorus and a bridge, and I know I'm done. Then I know I'm done when I have the basic the tactics of a song. I'm done, and then I know it's finished when everyone's happy.
When everyone's happy, I like that. That's such an optimistic answer to give.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you can tell. You can tell when it's done. It's when everyone's happy.
Yeah, of course, of course. Well, we're metalheads. Are we ever happy? No.
There you go. I like it.
Yep. And I have a few more questions for you. But when it comes to playing live, is there a similar energy that you channel into your live presence as you do when you are songwriting, or are they two completely separate arts altogether?
Good question. Separate arts, separate arts. But the recording process can ultimately, to me, be like the performing process too, because I want to perform the song the way that I want to perform it, if that makes sense, when I'm recording. So I want to put all that energy that I want to do live into that setting too. So I want to make sure that I do that. But writing the song, I'm not in there like, fuck yeah. I'm not doing that while I'm writing it. Those emotions are held back more so until I sing it out loud, if that makes sense.
Yeah, but I'm sorry. I was just going to ask, can you really practice crowd interaction and stage presence, or is that something that just comes naturally?
That's natural. I can't practice. You see guys, I see some of these new kids out there and they're like practicing their set in front of the mirror. Nah, can't never do that. I've never. It's not, but fuck it, go live. That's how we do it, man. It's in you, you get on that stage and you go and you do it. That's just, nothing's performed practice. I can't. Well, Sevendust, our practice, we laugh at each other because we'll go, it's time to do a tour and we'll get in that room. We're supposed to practice for 2 days. We'll practice for like an hour a day and we're done because we've been doing it for so long. We know, we know what we like and we know what sounds good and we get up there and we do it. That's our job. We know what to do.
Yeah, hell yeah. So before we go, I want to thank you so much for your time today and for such an awesome conversation. I know you got a sound check waiting for this kick-ass tour. Is there just anything else with Sevendust you'd like to promote for the release of Truth Killer?
Hey, just so we're excited about being back out here and being with Napalm Records and being able to talk to people like you has been incredible. And thank you for taking the time. And we look forward to seeing everyone out there. And I know, besides this, I'm getting in touch with Kevin to talk to you because I'm hooking up with you guys.
Oh, awesome, man. I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
You tell the family I said hello and I love what you guys do.
Will do, man. Thank you so much. Everybody, we are here with Sevendust, Truth Killer. Be sure to pick that up out on Napalm Records. This is Alex from Heavy New York, and we will see you next time.
Thank you, brother.